Fourth Amendment of the Constitution. It's illegal search and seizure. Okay, the Patriot Act allows warrantless wiretaps, and it allows the police to pull you. Say your neighbor says, yeah, she's affiliated with terrorists. They don't like you, okay? DHS can come to your house. Anybody, say your neighbor says that, accuses you of that. There's two things under the National Defense Authorization Act, which was bipartisan, voted upon by Republicans and Democrats. They can come to you, take you away, lock you away indefinitely with no trial, violating the Fourth through the Eighth Amendments of the U.S. Constitution. Ron Paul's for those things. But the Fourth Amendment, though, was specifically violated under the Patriot Act. I mean, I would really urge you to take the time to read the Constitution and hold these guys accountable, because both the Republicans and the Democrats are stripping it away. It may not affect you right now, but down the road it's going to affect your children, it's going to affect your grandchildren, because they're not going to grow up in a free country. They talk about it. Chris Christie, Mitt Romney, they talk about it, but Mitt Romney supports the National Defense Authorization Act. He also supports the Patriot Act. I mean, you've got to know about these things. Otherwise, Adolf Hitler talked about securing the country and making it was for your freedom we're being attacked. Okay, he talked about the same things. But then what did he do? He put people, locked them up, threw them in concentration camps. Political dissidents, Stalin did the same thing. That's what we are faced with if we don't act now. If we don't, get involved and hold the politicians accountable. I mean, the fact is, Romney and Obama, they're really not very different. They're very, very similar. The same thing can be said for the guy on your shirt, for George W. He talked about not growing the government, keeping it small, not being, in 2000 he talked about, he didn't want to be involved in foreign wars. What did he do? We were attacked by mostly Saudi Arabians on those planes. So what do? We go to war with Iraq and we go to war with Afghanistan. I mean, if you believe the official story, that's what happened. But we go to war with those countries because we're propping up Saudi Arabia. I mean, you've got to start asking questions. You've got to start looking at the Constitution. We need to follow it. If we don't do these things, this country is doomed. I mean, it was there. The bill, but the Bill of Rights was there not to protect the government. It was to protect your rights.
That's true.
And these guys, anyway. But they talk about the Constitution. Romney talks about the Constitution, but he's the father of Obamacare with Romney Care. Do you realize that I
kind of think that's different, though.
No, it's not.
How do you figure it's not?
He was consulted by Obama.
But he had a lot of Democrats. He
was consulted by Obama about Romney Care.
How do you know he was consulted by Obama, though?
It's public information. Google it. He was consulted, okay, and he also as
a lot of Democrats.
It's bipartisan.
It's
bipartisan. Okay.
He had to fight against those Democrats, though.
It's all about smoke and mirrors. It's about looks.
And you
Romney
what
called.
Are Democrats? What are Democrats? Tell me, what are Democrats?
At this point, they're
for themselves.
They're the same as these guys in here at this point, with the exception of the Ron Paul people. They are the same. They're stripping your liberties and giving your money to foreign governments.
There's one thing that Obama will do, and what is that? Just take one guess. What will Obama do?
The same thing as Romney.
Well, okay, what will Romney do?
Okay, Romney is governor. Okay, signed the most restrictive Second Amendment law.
People don't like Romney for one reason. They think because the man is rich. Well, why is the man rich? Why is the man rich? Why?
Because he inherited a bunch of money.
And he built it, though. And
he inherited it.
See, that's one thing people don't realize. He gave that away. He gave it away, and that's what people don't understand.
No, he didn't.
Yes,
He's got it in offshore banks.
No. Oh my Lord, no, he did not.
But let's look at his record. Let's look at his record. As governor, he signed the most restrictive gun control law in Massachusetts history. That's a fact. He also, according to the Boston Globe, you can look it up, he also said that there should be a ban on all semi-automatic firearms in the United States. A clear violation of the U.S. Constitution and the Second Amendment. If these Republicans in here were aware, a lot of them are like this. They're looking through blinders and they're not aware of the fact that this guy doesn't stand for the Constitution. He doesn't care about you, he doesn't care about you, and he doesn't care about me. Okay, he doesn't care about the future of this country, and neither does Obama. They're the same. They are not polar opposites. These guys were cut from the same cloth.
Obama don't care about nobody but Obama. See what I'm saying?
But
Obama
but the thing is,
doesn't care about nobody.
Okay, I am not a fan of Obama. I am
Right,
not a fan
neither
of
am I.
anybody trampling our liberties. But what you got to wake up and see is, this guy did. Romney, he plans on it. He's talked about doing it. He's talked about how he supports it. He wants to go to war with Iran. Do you think that when we have a $17 trillion debt, okay, that is a burden upon our economy, going to war with Iran, the reason that we have a $17 trillion debt was because we went to war in Iraq and Afghanistan. We stretched our military thin. We've got veterans committing suicide. It's like 35 veterans a day that are committing suicide because of foreign intervention, because they're doing multiple deployments that are on psychotropic drugs. And what are we doing? We're going to send them back. Mitt Romney's going to do it. Barack Obama's going to do it. If we don't turn this country around and start following the Constitution, we're doomed. We need to have the Congress actually declare war before we get involved in this stuff, okay? And the only way they're going to do that, they've given away their authority. The Congress is the most powerful when you look at the way that the separation of the powers was in the Constitution, okay? Article 1, Section 8. The Congress has the power to print money. They have the power to declare war. The president doesn't have it. The Congress has abdicated both of those powers. They've given the power to print money to the Federal Reserve, a third-party entity it's privately owned. And what are they doing as far as declaring wars? They say, President Bush, you can go do this. President Obama, go ahead, go to Libya. You know, hey, you want to go to Syria? Go ahead, do it. We won't say anything. Republicans and Democrats have both done this.
Well, I do blame both sides. You're right.
What I encourage you to do, though, because what I encourage you to do is actually pay attention. Just pay attention. Ask questions. Look at their voting records. Do you have a smartphone?
No.
There's an app. It's called a Congress app, and you can look at every single vote that has ever been taken.
Well, listen, I am on the right page with you. Don't get me wrong. I do blame both sides, but listen to me and listen to me. This is how I see it. If you have 4 more years of Obama, what are we going to have? We're going to have nothing.
And when Mitt Romney,
am I right?
When Mitt Romney is governor, you heard him speak the other night. He talked about, I grew the economy, this and that. Do you realize that when he was governor, the state of Massachusetts was 47th in the nation as far as the economy goes and unemployment? That's a fact. It's out there. Okay. Gary Johnson, who's the Libertarian candidate, okay, he was actually prosperous because he actually believed in limited government and shrinking the size of government, shrinking regulation, and letting business build itself. This guy doesn't. Neither does Obama.
And Obama said that he was going to cut the military and do everything. Pretty soon we ain't going to have a military with everything that man's doing to the military. Am I right? We're going to have a police state. That's where we're headed. And it started with the man on your shirt. Well, it started with the Department of Homeland Security was created by him. The TSA, how do you feel when you go flying? I don't fly.
I don't either. And you know why? Because of what that man right there did. And Barack Obama has expanded everything that he did.
We cannot blame him anymore. We really can't.
So he's not responsible for his actions?
We can't blame him anymore, and we really have got to stop blaming him. And why does everybody blame him? Because I'll tell you why. Listen, seriously, he's not in office anymore. I understand. Listen, seriously, we all have got to stop this. Really, and it's really, really getting on to my nerves. He's not in office anymore. And the only reason why people blame him is because why? Obama. And why? Because Obama cannot do anything for this country. And he's got it just like he did. He could change everything. And now he's got it into every...
This is the guy I support. Okay, I don't support Obama.
Okay, that's great. And great. But listen to me. We have all got to stop blaming Bush. He's not into office.
I'm not blaming him for all of the problems that we have. But what I'm saying is he needs to be held accountable for the illegal things that he did.
For the last 4 years, we can't do it
Barack
anymore.
Obama needs to be held accountable for the things that he's done as well. But
exactly.
Both of them.
And he's not taking responsibility.
Both of them do. I'm not okay. Both of them do. I'm an equal opportunity guy. Okay.
You're talking about Ron Paul.
Yes.
Okay? What would you do about Iran?
What would I do about Iran?
And be honest.
I wouldn't go to war with Iran. Michael Schuer, the head of the CIA, he was the head of the Bin Laden unit, okay, that was tasked with hunting Bin Laden. He said, you know, these things that we're doing, rushing into these things, we're not looking at the long-term things. We're going to war with these people, and what we're doing is, we were told that we went to war because of our you know, they hated us for our freedom. Okay, well, that's been taken care of. I mean, you know, you go through the TSA, you go fly, your children now, you've got a 3-year-old kid whose diapers get ripped off, you know, they're getting molested by the TSA. These are because of the things that we've done. We need to actually, Thomas Jefferson said that, you know, we need to engage with our neighbors, okay? We need to not have any political ties with these people. We need to engage with them. We haven't. That's just it. We've had sanctions. Now let's put it this way. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask. Hold on. Let me preface it this way, okay? If we had, say, China put an embargo around the United States, okay? And China put military bases in Canada. They put military bases in Mexico. Would we feel threatened? If they fight them. We would. We would.
We'd
okay.
IEDs,
now,
right?
Now we would. You're right.
Yeah.
We would fight them.
Yeah, we would.
Okay. What do you think Iran is doing? They're scared. I mean, let's be real. If you put the shoe on the other foot, if you look at the world in that way and you take the time to look at it, I'd be scared. I mean, you look at the drones bombing. Right? If you look at the drones that are killing, there's innocent men and women. I mean, I served in the military. I'm an oath keeper. Okay.
So did my husband.
And I believe in the Constitution. I believe that we shouldn't be fighting unconstitutional wars. I believe the burden that it is putting on our military men and women, it's a travesty. I mean, there's people that have an emotional deep-seated scars that are killing themselves.
You're not going to have to worry about trauma. You're not going to have to worry about debt. You're not going to have to worry about anything.
But
if Iran drops a nuclear bomb.
Yes.
Iran doesn't have the capability to do it, and it's okay. Even the Israeli intelligence, the director of the CIA has said it. Israeli intelligence has said it. Even Leon Panetta has said it. They do not have the capability to do it.
Why do you think Leon Panetta says that?
Leon Panetta he wants to go to war. He wants to go to war. They're looking for a reason, but they've said they don't have the ability.
Can I make a point? Think about what happened in Libya. Right? About 2004, the United States said, "Hey, Libya, give up your nuclear weapons, and we'll leave you alone." And so Gaddafi gave up his nuclear weapons, and what happened to him? So it's sort of a message that's being sent to all the dictators around the world. You better get nukes, otherwise you're dead.
I mean, the Cold War's over. The Cold War has been over for years, but we still maintain the posture. We have, you know, military bases in, what is it, 130 some countries in the world? The Cold War's been over. We need to bring these troops home. We can't afford to fight another war. We can't afford not only the human cost, but we just can't afford it from an economic standpoint. This country will cease to exist. If you look at what happened with Russia, Russia went bankrupt and ended because of Afghanistan. That's what we're faced with. The only reason that we're still sustainable is because of the fact that the US dollar has been the world trade currency, which is stopping. Yeah. They're switching to the Chinese yuan. I mean, that's the reality. I mean, if you want to go to war with Iran, understand that it's going to cost the United States everything. The United States will cease to exist, just like the former Soviet Union did.
We have 4 more years of Obama. It's going to cost us everything.
It's going to cease to exist anyway.
Exactly.
Romney?
That's what people are not listening to.
Romney follows the same policies.
I would rather have Romney into office than Obama.
Then you're not paying attention.
Well,
I mean, you're not paying attention.
So let's see. Instead of having, let's see, we have Romney and we have Obama. Those are the two choices we have. So what are we going to do? Not just go and vote?
No.
Then what would you do?
What I plan on doing, I'm going to do one of two things. I'm either going to write in Ron Paul and vote my conscience, or vote for Gary Johnson, Libertarian candidate. Okay? One of those two things. The reason being, I can't support illegal wars. I took an oath as a member of the U.S. military to uphold the Constitution, and both of those guys do not. Romney's, where was he? He's for all these wars. This guy never served. None of his children have served. I was going to do bigger and better things. Come on now. I mean, that's a slap in my face. That's disgusting to me. And don't get me wrong, he's no better.
No.
Obama was against the wars, but he's prone to sending our guys over to fight. They're both hypocrites. Ron Paul is the only guy that took the oath to uphold the Constitution, and he actually defended it. Okay, he went into Congress. He never voted for anything unconstitutional. The guy never one time in his years in Congress, it's almost 30 years, voted to raise taxes. Tell me any other member of Congress.
The only person that can take our country back for me, my grandkids, is Romney. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. He is the only one that my grandkids have a chance right now.
I'm sorry, because you're wrong and you're not looking at the facts.
Well, I have been looking at the facts, and right now, the only chance.
You knew nothing about NDAA. You knew nothing about the Patriot Act. You don't know anything about the Constitution. You don't know anything about the economy. You're not looking at the facts. You need to educate yourself on them. And I'm not trying to bash you. Okay?
I am looking at the whole picture.
What I'm trying to do is get you to take the blinders off and look at the whole picture.
The whole picture is this. I do know that people had blinders on when they elected Obama. Nobody wanted to take the blinders off when that man, all of a sudden they seen these lights and they thought that they were going to have change. And look what happened to us.
And they didn't get it.
No.
You know who the #1 funder of both of these campaigns were? You know who the #1 funder of not only the Romney camp, okay, but also the Obama camp was? People that received the bailouts, the banks, Goldman Sachs. That was the #1. You know who the #1 contributor to Ron Paul's campaign was? The men and women of the U.S. military. That was his #1 campaign contributions. Okay, was the men and women of the U.S. military. Quite frankly, I'll stand with them all day. If you guys want to stand with the banks, more power to you.
Stand with the banks. Nobody stand with the banks.
Romney, Paul Ryan, they were for the bailouts. Obama was too. There's no difference.
Well,
But see,
I just know I'm going to stand with Romney because if I have a chance and my grandkids have a chance, it's with Romney. Plain and simple. We got to get this country back.
well, you're flushing the chance down the toilet.
No, not with Romney, I'm not.
Well, it was good talking to you.
You too, thanks.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Hey, thank you for your service.
But they're both supported by banksters.
You need to snap out of it and look forward and not backward.
I am, and I see
Barack
that
Obama
Goldman
is
Sachs.
backward.
So between the two, realistic possibilities, Romney or Obama, Obama's worse.
Yeah.
So if you want to consider that an endorsement, that's an endorsement.
That's what I heard online. I just wanted to clarify it with you.
Yeah.